What's your birthday plan?
I will. Trying to break the shell a little bit.
Got my black socks on today, buddy.
Oh, they've just got circles.
Here,
Yes.
Should have wear something a little more wild for your
I got my
first
phone.
real planning.
Just need to get up.
That's not wild.
Fine,
That's
thank you.
mild for Nate.
Okay, we're going to get started. Okay. Okay. We will call to order the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Wednesday, July 18th, 2018. If you'll rise, and Commissioner Klaus will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please, Bonnie.
Johnson,
Here.
Klaus,
Here.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Gorfulet,
Here.
Mayor,
Here.
Lathrop,
Yep.
Crawford.
Here. We have approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of June 20th, 2018, that was a regular meeting, and June 27th, 2018, a special meeting. Anything to add or anything?
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Wheelock. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now's our chance for first public comment. Bonnie, will you read the rules, please?
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4, Order of Business. However, public comment will generally be received at any time during the meeting regarding a specific topic currently under discussion by the board. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson. Please be respectful and refrain from personal or political attacks.
Thank you. Does anyone have public comment? Ms. Erickson is approaching.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Chris Erickson, Director of County Parks and Recreation, and I just wanted to publicly thank all those who've come out to volunteer to help paint the locker rooms at the Easling Pool at the Civic Center. We've had we had 2 great turnouts for 2 painting bees, a total of, I think, about 50 people, if you combine the 2. And then we've had volunteers streaming in for over 2 weeks, every day, morning and afternoon, a few at a time, to help touch up the paint and things like that. So we just really appreciate the outpouring with this pool. We also have nearly met our Phase 2 goal of fundraising for the locker rooms, so thank you everyone for that. And Commissioner Crawford joined us for our painting bees, and Commissioner Roth, and I invite all of you to stop by and take a look at the project. It's now nearly 2 weeks behind, possibly more. I just found out yesterday, so that's unfortunate, but we're keeping at it, and things are happening there, and we'll be excited to reopen the new pool. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment at this time? No? Nobody jumping up? Okay, we will move on to approval of the agenda. I have one change. In our closed session, we will not be talking about 15C in our closed session. Okay? Does anybody else have any changes to the agenda at this time? Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move we approve the agenda with the deletion of the 3rd closed session.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have an agenda. On to the consent calendar. Bonnie, please.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will automatically be respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. A, receive and file. Number 1, Department of Health and Human Services minutes of January 25th. Number 2, Department of Health and Human Services minutes of February 22nd. Number 3, Department of Health and Human Services minutes of April 26th. Number 4, Department of Health and Services Pavilions minutes of May 25th. Number 5, Northwestern Regional Airport Commission minutes of May 29th. Number 6, Road Commission report for July 18th. Number 7, Grand Traverse County Conservation District June 2018 report. B, approvals. Number 1, Area Agency on Aging of Northwest Michigan Annual Implementation Plan. Number 2, Blair Township Agreement to Manage Floodplain Development. Number 3, Michigan National Resources Trust Fund Grant Acceptance, TF 170095, Boardman Lake Loop. Number 4, Michigan National Resources Trust Fund Grant Acceptance, TF 170096, Boardman Lake Loop. Number 5, Sanitary Landfill Transfer Station Designation Agreement, Manistee County Sanitary Landfill. Number 6, 2018 to 2020 contract for wood and brush grinding and removal services. Number 7, Disposal of Crime Lab camera equipment. Number 8, Fiscal Year 2018 budget amendments. Number 9, June 2018 claims approval. Number 10, June financial report, budget to actual revenue and expenditure report. Number 11, ratify appointments to boards and committees for Administrator, National Education Reserve, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have anything to remove from the consent calendar? Yes, Sunny?
I would like to pull B10 just because I want to talk about the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council appointments.
All right. Cheryl?
B8.
B8.
Are you guys looking at the amended agenda?
It's actually item 11.
I don't know.
We had them
I'm looking at the
misnumbered.
I got the
claims
one.
I'm looking at the one that was
one.
mailed
I
to me.
picked
No,
up.
there was a one put on your desk, was supposed to be the amended agenda.
Okay.
So I want to make sure we pull the right one,
All right, hold on.
because they were numbered wrong.
Yeah,
So which one did you want to pull?
Hold on, let me get the right agenda, because if the right one wasn't
yeah, yours
out
would be
there.
11, and yours would be 9 then.
Okay.
Okay.
You're wanting the claims approval?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
'cause
the other one
you
was
got
the
two
appointments.
4s in there, so.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
I do
Okay.
not have the
I
other
got it.
agenda, so.
She, I
just
thought
a
she was
num-
going to put it on,
It's just a numbering
Yeah.
issue?
It's a
not
numbering
just
issue. It
a
doesn't
numbering
change what
issue.
they are.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So 9 and 11.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody from administration or the public want anything pulled? Okay. Do I have a motion for the consent calendar?
Madam Chairman, I would move to approve the consent calendar with the exception of items B9 and B11.
I'll second that.
Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Mayer. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have no special orders of business, so we will move on to B9, the claims approval. Cheryl?
I just had a question on the first page of distributions. Dunn Hadway, Kendall and Associates, who are they?
They're the security for the courthouse.
And governmentjobs.com, Inc.,
That one I don't know. off the top of my head.
$10,395.
Oh, that was GovHR,
It's
wasn't
GovHR, and we should not owe them
We can-
anywhere near
we
that.
can
it?
look
Government
into
jobs
that.
may be posting for,
I don't believe it's that firm.
It's not GovHR.
No, that's GovHR.
We'll look into the second item and let you know before
Thank you.
Okay.
the end of the meeting.
That's all I had.
Governmentjobs.com.
Anybody else have anything on that item? We'll wait for an answer. How about B11? Sunny?
Well, I just wanted to mention, I'm going to report to you later this evening that your jail ed hoc committee has been very, very busy. And I'm going to talk about, in the commissioners' reports, I'm going to talk a little bit about recommendations that we made last night and motions that were passed by that committee to come to this board, which will be on your future agenda, and a number of other great things that have come about. But I did want to mention, we have finalized the appointments to the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. And I would like to mention who those 11 members are. As you recall, there are specific people that have to be on this committee. Hopefully, we can get them up and running very soon. And I think with their help and the jail ad hoc committee, we can truly get a handle on our jail situation soon. Sooner is better. But the 11 members are Circuit Court Judge Tom Power, District Court Judge Mike Stepka, Prosecutor Bob Cooney, the local criminal defense attorney. There's 20-some on the list. Every one of them that is approved to be a court-appointed defense attorney was contacted, and Janet Mistely was selected to represent the defense attorneys on this committee. Janet also sits on our Community Corrections Board, so and she's been around for quite a while, so she'll be a good addition. Sheriff Tom Bensley, County Administrator Nate Elzer, Jail Administrator Todd Ritter, City Commissioner Michelle Howard, County Commissioner Dan Lathrop, citizen, which we did on an interview last week. The citizen selected was Diana Bauer. Diana's here this evening too. She was at our meeting last night. Very pleased to have her be involved. And Community Mental Health Representative Joni Blamer, who also is here. She's like some of the rest of us. She doesn't have any place else to go, so she just kind of wanders in and off the street, you know. So, but I did want to make it a point to recognize those people that have stepped up to help us serve on this Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and I think we really have momentum going right now. So maybe we can keep it going. So with that, I would move to approve the appointments to boards and committees.
I'll second it.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Lathrop. Any further discussion on this one?
Commissioner Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Bott has an answer for you.
Yes, sir.
That expenditure was for human resources software. We use it for the online application process for job positions that are open. When we first started with that software, it was in the $9,000 range, so it's increased over time, but that's the software that we use to post for online. And people can apply then online instead of, doing the paper process. So we've used them for a number of years now, so. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor to approve item number 11.
Add 9.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
And, okay, all right, well, for 9 and 11, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We will move on to departmental items. Audit presentation. Mr. Bott.
We have Peter Hefner here with the firm of Redeveld Hefner. He was the lead auditor on your audit. Peter has over 25 years of experience in the governmental community and has conducted governmental audits such as the county audit for over 20 years. So we have a PowerPoint presentation that Peter put together, and with that, I will turn it over to Peter.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding the audit process or the results of the audit. And I thought I would just walk you through some of the key aspects of the audit, and I'm going to ask you to take a look at some of the pages within the document itself. And within the financial statements is our opinion. It's multiple pages long, and I would ask you to take a look at it. I'm going to try to summarize it for you, but on page 1 of those financial statements, at the very bottom of the page, the opinion is 2 pages long, but I'm going to summarize that last paragraph. Our opinion is that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position, results of operations, cash flows where applicable of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, the aggregate component units, as well as the aggregate remaining funds in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, and that is that the financial statements are presented as required in conformance with generally accepted accounting principles. And that's the highest opinion you can receive, which is a positive thing. Following our opinion is the management's discussion and analysis, and I'm going to show you some pictures of the historical information being presented there. But that's a nice place to direct the interested public and the media, because it provides a nice summary of how did you end up for the current year compared to the prior year, what are the differences. From an income statement perspective, what was the difference in the dollars coming in and the dollars going out. Also talks about significant capital activities, significant long-term liability activities, as well as what you're thinking for future budgets. What were the considerations used when you developed the budget for next year? So a good place to point the attention of the individuals that are interested, because it provides a summary. But if you actually want to get into the details, you would turn along with me to page 13, and this is what I refer to as the government-wide financial statements. So this is a very consolidated look at where did the county end the year for the governmental activities, the business type activities, each of the component units which are under your umbrella, such as road commission and brownfield authority, et cetera. This summary is really on a business perspective or a full accrual basis of accounting, and it's getting kind of deep there, but that's really the perspective that a business would look at their operation. And this is the perspective that gets compared from government to government. So investors that are purchasing debt are interested in this full accrual perspective where all the liabilities of the county are on the books, all the assets of the county are on the books. And following that government-wide perspective, which we're going to look at here just in a second, on page 16 are the governmental funds. And these governmental fund financial statements are presenting your general fund and other governmental funds on the modified accrual basis of accounting, or more closely following dollars in and dollars out. The perspective that you use throughout the year. How much do we need for debt service? How much do we need for capital? And we're going to take some look at a couple slides that provide this perspective as well. Following the governmental fund financial statements on page 18 are the financial statements for your business type activities. And you can see the pavilions really kind of dwarf everything there. And we'll see it in the slides as well. But this is, again, back to that full accrual basis of accounting, that business perspective, where we're showing all your assets, all your liabilities. Difference between those two is reported as net position. So you have a balance sheet or a statement of financial position, you have a statement of revenues, expenses, changes in financial position, and then a statement of cash flows, just as a business would display. Following that financial statement is information about the fiduciary funds that you operate, which are those funds where you're holding dollars on the behalf of others. Could be other organizations, or it could be your employees in the case of your other post-employment benefit plan. And following the fiduciary fund financial statements are notes to the financial statements where the county is disclosing what alternative is used under generally accepted accounting principles for Grand Traverse County. When there's an option, which option have you selected? What is your capitalization level for your capital assets? What is the debt activity during the year? What is the capital activity during the year, et cetera? So there's a ton of detail within this document. And following those notes are combining an individual fund statements, which break out detail for budget and actual presentations, but also we will show the non-major funds here. So in the front of the report, we're showing the large funds. In the back of the report, break down each individual fund, just to kind of give you a lay of the land here. I did want to direct your attention also. We've provided an opinion on the financial statements, but we also provide an opinion on your system of internal controls over financial reporting. And those opinion, that's our second opinion, is on page 179. And I just want to point out that we did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in your system of internal controls over financial reporting. So the controls that are in place over the process of preparing these financial statements, we didn't identify material weakness or a significant deficiency. And the next opinion we provide is on your compliance with federal grant requirements. And in that opinion, we also did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. A nice summary of that is actually provided on, bear with me here for a second. If you take a look on page 185, this summary on page 185 is input into the federal government's website where they track the results of federal compliance audits. So you had a financial statement audit and a federal compliance audit referred to as a single audit, combining those two together. And the information at the top here, you can see type of audit report issued, unmodified, so the highest opinion you can receive. Internal controls over financial reporting, no issues. Internal controls over compliance, no issues. We did identify two non-compliance or internal control related items at the very bottom of the page. So one is the level of dollars within your internal service funds. The federal government sets a threshold and you're above it. And the other is that your system of internal controls over compliance, approximately, I think it was 3 years ago, the federal government came out and said, you not only have to have a system of internal controls over compliance, but it has to be in writing. And so we're suggesting you put those controls for the 12 compliance areas in writing. And so that's kind of a summary. Our 3 opinions, all positive. And I'm going to kind of walk you through some slides, if I may, just to take a look at what has occurred during the year. Where did you end up the year? What did we see? And if you have questions, I'd be happy to try to answer those as well. This is just a picture of the revenues of all of your operations. This would be your governmental activities and your business type activities. So you can see charges for services are the biggest component of your operation. And that component, could it be anything from, let's see, say, charges for permitting or things of that nature, but a big chunk of that is actually the pavilion's charges, because it's such a large operation. Of your entire operation, it kind of brings it into perspective. This is a look at just your governmental activities, which are primarily the general fund, health, funds that are providing general services to the community. You can see here, your governmental activities are, a large portion of those activities are funded by property taxes, which is normal for county government. And you can see how charges fell back quite a bit here. This is a look at your expenses and program revenues for your governmental activities. And what we're showing here is to what extent do these operations fund themselves through grants, charges for services, and the differential between the blue and the yellow component is the extent that you're funding your operations with other revenues, state share revenues as well as property taxes, just to give a perspective. Very typical picture for a county and for city government as well. Public safety is generally the largest expenditure and is generally a largest user of property taxes as well. And kind of you see that situation right here. This is a look at your net assets of your governmental activities. So this is that full accrual perspective. We looked at it at the front of the report. And it's showing to what extent have you invested in capital, such as buildings and infrastructure or equipment. And you can see here increasing over time. And that is being forced down each year by depreciation expense as well. So keep that in mind. In a year when you invest a lot of capital, that's being pushed down by depreciation. The year you don't invest in any capital, it'll go down by depreciation. And then to what extent do you have restricted dollars? Those might be grant restricted dollars, funding you receive for a specific purpose. And that last line, you can see it's red, it's unrestricted. And I just wanted to point out here, that's primarily the result of the new pension accounting and your other post-employment or healthcare for retiree accounting standards resulted in that decline. So the decline from 16 to 17, I believe, is primarily due to implementing the new other post-employment benefit accounting standard that required you to record a liability to the extent the plan was unfunded. And if you take a look at the decline the prior year from 14 to 15 is the year you put the new pension standard or accounting standard into place. 15 to 16, MERS didn't do great. And actually this year, your pension plan is better funded, but it's not reflected in that bottom line because of the new other post-employment benefit standard. Now going forward, I would expect that to come back up. But the dramatic decline is the result of the new accounting standards. Nothing changed with your plan, but the standards changed. That's how you report upon it. This is a picture of your general fund revenues, and this is, a large portion of your operations. You can see taxes, intergovernmental revenue, charges for services, and reimbursement. But the bulk of it is taxes, and over time, and to what extent, what is your millage is driving it, as well as taxable values are increasing. This is a picture of your expenditures over time. For your general fund, this is that alternative perspective, that modified accrual basis of accounting, and you can see to what extent are you spending dollars on public safety, general government, judicial, legislative. And keep in mind, a project can drive those numbers up, and then over time is really what you want to be looking at. This is a picture of your general fund unassigned fund balance as a percentage of expenditures and transfers out. So to what extent do you have dollars available to operate in the future? Those dollars are needed to cash flow payroll from a month-to-month basis because you collect property taxes over a short period of time. But also, those dollars are used to fund other capital needs that come up. So it's important that you have a strong fund balance, and you have a strong fund balance or a strong financial position in your general fund. This is a picture of your governmental fund balances where we're looking at general fund, Commission on Aging, and Health Department, the largest operations of your governmental activities. And you can just see the pretty much Commission on Aging and Health Department. They don't have a large fund balance. I mean, they have a lot of dollars there, but again, those are big operations. You got to cover your salary throughout the year, et cetera. This is a look at your revenues by source of your business type activities. So you can see your business type activities are pretty much charges to the customers that are benefiting. And this is a look at your business type activities. I just highlighted the two largest, your delinquent tax collection fund as well as your inspections fund are on the left, and then all other business type activities. And I couldn't include the pavilions with those, or they would just be a dot, because the pavilions by far is the largest operation. And for the current year, you can see that expenses were exceeded by revenue, which resulted in a positive increase in the bottom line, which is good. That's difficult with those operations, to maintain positive increases in the bottom line because it's just so costly to operate. This is a look at that net position of just your business type activities, and you can see you have your investment in capital, putting dollars into buildings and equipment, and you can also see your unrestricted balance declined. And again, that decline is a result of the new pension standard and the new other post-employment benefit standard, or retiree health care, that was implemented this year. And now going forward, we'll see where these numbers go, but this is the business type activities portion of the pension liability and the health care liability for retirees. And here's just over time, where is the net position of those enterprise or business type activities. I did want to point out, I worked with your treasurer and her staff more than I have on other county audits. She was very helpful. I was there every day, and I was here every day of your audit, and my partner was here for several weeks of the audit too. He took on the pavilions portion with our staff. But I wanted to point out that the treasurer was very helpful, and they do a lot of the accounting activities specifically for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. They kind of head that up, and then obviously with cash and investments and property taxes. So I worked with her a lot, and I appreciate that she had everything in order, and when I asked questions, she had the answers, so that helps a lot. I also worked a lot with Cherry and Dean in your finance department, and they were very helpful. And I was impressed when I started to dig into some pretty detailed accounts, which you hold on the behalf of others in your fiduciary funds, and the detail tied out. And a lot of times those things fall off the radar for people. So it was really kind of refreshing, and I was able to say, good, then I won't have to dig as deep or try to recreate or what have you. So from my perspective, it was a first-year audit, and they're challenging because I'm learning a lot about your organization. That next year, I think it'll probably take a little pressure off your people because they'll know more what to expect. But we always try to do some things that are unexpected as well. But from my perspective, it went well. We didn't have material adjustments to the financial statements, so that's positive. Are there any questions I can answer about the financial statements? And I can be briefer if you would like in the future. But I wanted to kind of lay out the statements somewhat for you. Yes, sir.
So next year, when we this year we
added the OPEBs.
Yes.
So next year, we won't see that dip.
Next year, you should see that red line start to increase. It should actually come above a negative in the case of your governmental activities. And there are no new standards that are gonna hit you like this pension and the post-retirement healthcare standards. There's nothing that I see out there in the next 4 or 5 years. Those are huge issues that brought it to, into the spotlight for sure. Every government looked at it, assessed it. Many got out of it and took alternative measures with defined contribution plans, and you've done similar types of things.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions at all? Comments? Dean, from your perspective, how did it go?
Very happy with the audit. He's telling you, I did not tell Peter what to present or how to present. I've never done that with an auditor. We had, I think the thing that's most important here is the comments about the job that the treasurer does. Heidi does have a lot of responsibility, not only for managing your cash and your investments, but without Heidi, you really wouldn't know where you're at with your brownfield activities, so she gets a lot of credit for that. Peter's comment about the detail, Cherry gets the credit for that, and my staff. I'm not involved in that level, and of course I wasn't here in 2017, so I wanted to thank you for the work that you do, and it's nice to hear that from your auditor, that when they're looking at the detail, that we have the documentation. So it was great working with Peter and his staff, and I'm looking forward to next year. We'll know them better, they'll know us better, and our goal would be to have the audit to you sooner. I haven't shared that with Peter yet, but that's the goal.
Now you have.
We want to have this done sooner rather than, in June. So I believe we can do that.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was, I like that it's, that we can compare the different years.
You're
Rather
welcome.
than just
Thank you.
looking at this one year. Thank you very much. That puts it in
Sure.
good perspective.
We'll continue with those slides then, and
Good.
we'll look for other opportunities to do the same.
Yep, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Okay. Here. Moving on. Deficit elimination plan. Who's going to tell us about that? Dean?
That would be me.
Okay.
I've provided in your packet the 2 letters that were received as a result of the audit was submitted. The first one is on page 131 in your packet. This is pretty standard to get a letter saying that we had some budget variances. Budgeting is not an exact science. We do our best to avoid situations where we have expenditures that are over the amounts that have been authorized, but we had 4 in the 2017, and they're common. We always try to do better, and the only way you do that is by doing a more thorough review at year end. And again, I think you just didn't have the personnel that you needed at the end of December to do that review. No knock on anyone. There's limited personnel to do that. Even if I were here, you get these. I mean, there are things that you simply don't know. The budget has to be amended by December 31st. You can't amend the budget after the fact. You simply don't know everything that's out there. You may not know all of the invoices. You may have something that comes up after, when you're in your next year. And those, when you're making your year-end adjustments in January and February, you book them in the right year, and that's what causes some of this. So it's not anything that's critical with the state. I will address it, and basically that's what I'm telling them, that we'll do a more thorough review at the end of the year and try to have those budgets adjustments to you and those amendments made so that we don't have the situation. The one that does require more formal action, though, is on page 133, the notice of intent to withhold state payments. That's the one where we have to have the board resolution to adopt a deficit elimination plan. You actually had this situation last year in the two building authority funds. We paid off bond issues in 2011 and 2012 to realize almost $400,000 in interest payments that we would have paid on those, the Woodmere and the Lafreniere bond issues. And what we're doing here is showing the state how that's corrected. We continue to make the payments that we would have made if we didn't call and pay the bonds off early. That's actually summarized, and Chris had prepared the plan, which is on page 136, and then the resolution. If you look at page 137, for those of you that do have it up, you can see that the Woodmere deficit has actually been cleared with the payment that was made here in 2018. That was the scheduled payment that's in your budget, and then we will clear totally the Lafreniere deficit in 2020 with the payments that are made. So this is a formality. It's something that we have to submit to the state. If you ignore this, they'll start withholding our state revenue sharing, and we do not want to do that. But I am hoping that you will approve the deficit elimination plan. It's very similar to the one that you approved last year with 1 year off of the repayment schedule. So I would ask for your approval.
A motion that we approve the deficit elimination plan, the resolution.
Okay.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Johnson. Discussion? Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. There you go, Dean.
Thank you.
On to Administrator, Maintenance Agreement for the Boardman Lake Loop. Nate?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to recognize Penny Hill from the city and Chris Cushman from TART. They're here tonight to support this concept as well. Chris Erickson has done a tremendous amount of work on this. The agreement that you're seeing is a product of a couple of years of effort by TART, Garfield Township, the city of Traverse City, and the county. And it's specific to the creation of the western trail that will connect down at Medallia Park to the eastern side of the loop. I know that you've seen the information previously and you've seen presentations on the trail, so unless you have questions about that, I can just tell you that it's going to be a great asset for us to have that trail. And there's a lot of excitement surrounding it. So the agreement you have in front of you essentially creates the Boardman Lake management or loop management team that consists of a representative from the county, the city, Garfield Township, TART, and the Community Foundation. And it also establishes how and when the maintenance for the newly constructed trail will occur, and what happens if the funding mechanism is better than we need it to be, and what happens if it's worse than we need it to be. Since I have given you the preliminary plan a few weeks ago, the city has approved this plan, or the agreement, as has Garfield Township. So we are asking for approval to enter into the agreement with the other three entities and move forward with the trail. And I would welcome Penny or Chris, if they have anything to add to that, to come up and speak to that.
I would make the motion.
Okay.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Gorfulet, supported by Commissioner Johnson. Yes, Tom?
I just want to say that I attended the Garfield Township meeting where they discussed this, and I'm also a member of the County Parks and Recreation, and I would approve this based on seeing those two presentations.
Okay. Anybody? Yes, Cheryl?
Just in support of the motion, you know, this is an incredible asset that we have that we're gonna just make even better than it already is. And it's sort of like our sand dunes, you know? It's something really big that's there for everybody to enjoy, and they're gonna come to enjoy it, and it's gonna get a lot of use. And I think it's awesome that we have the city, the county, and Garfield Township all agreeing to share in the costs. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that, so kudos to all of you who did all that work.
Dan?
And it shows we can be collaborative.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember,
does.
correct me if I'm wrong, Sonny, when the town dump used to be on Boardman Lake.
Not to mention Tanny Hill and beyond.
Yeah, so, yeah, so we've come a long way, you know. It's,
I think
beautiful.
it shows that we can be proactive too. We have so many assets that deteriorate because there wasn't anything like this in place for management and maintenance of it in perpetuity, really. So, you know, to be able to do the maintenance just on the interest off of an endowment is the way to go, so that we don't have to, 10 years later go, well, we didn't have any money to put into it. We couldn't afford to maintain it and take care of it well. So I like the proactive instead of reactive. Sonny?
I think the one thing, though, that is important to recognize is these assets that we have and we develop and we maintain are utilized by not just our residents, but a lot of visitors to our community. I think it's another opportunity to talk and another place to say, we really need to have a firm discussion about a hotel motel tax. Those of us, the 90,000 of us that live here year-round cannot continue to build and maintain the recreational facilities and the infrastructure that is utilized by a 500,000 people that were here 2 weeks ago. We just simply cannot do that. We need to be putting pressure on our legislators. The legislation probably is not going to change enough to allow us to qualify under the current standards of a hotel motel tax, but the legislature has the ability to grant special exemptions. They did it in Kalamazoo, they can do it in Traverse City. They did it on Mackinac Island. There's no reason that we shouldn't be putting more and more pressure on our legislators to allow us to assess a hotel motel tax in Traverse City. 2%, I don't remember what the number was, but 2% brings us like $1.5 million a year, and I truly don't believe anyone is going to not go to Great Wolf Lodge because it's going to cost them $4 more for the weekend. It's just not going to happen. And we really need to make it a point to put pressure on our legislators to allow us to assess a hotel motel tax in this community.
We need to really take care of these assets. I know that I was very grateful. I'm very grateful that we have these in Traverse City. I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, loaded up the bikes on the back of my car, fully intending to find bike trails. Nope. I found a waterfall. I found a couple of parks. Found some geocaches. Never took the bikes off the back of my car because we didn't find, and it was a beautiful area, lakes and mountains, and didn't find these kinds of bike trails like we have here. And I was rather disappointed because that's what I wanted to do. So I really became very aware of the asset that we have and how valuable it is to us. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And if you're ever bored and you want to know how much that river is used, just come up to the 3rd floor and watch the amount of kayak traffic.
I wave at you when I go by.
It's significant. It's fun to watch.
Yes, it is. It is well utilized. Okay, we have no old unfinished business, no new business. We're up to second public comment. Anybody? Once, twice. Everybody's smiling and looking very pleasant, but nobody's jumping up. Okay. Commissioner department reports. I'm going to go first real quick here. I wanted to let you know that we have on July 25th, next Wednesday, a study session. And the topic will be the drain commissioner and the drains and what's happening with our drains in the county.
And
We-
I'm just gonna put you on
Yes.
notice that I'm in trial in Cadillac.
Got
and
it.
I will make every effort to get
Absolutely.
here, but it is a jury trial, and I can only do what I can do.
We understand.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What is this one?
You kind of know about drains anyway, right?
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, that's next Wednesday. And then September 12th, we also have a study session planned for planning. So a study session about planning.
On what day?
Planning.
On the
planning,
September 12th, we are planning a study session about planning.
piece.
Yeah. And if I may add to that, John Amrine from MSU Extension has agreed to do the facilitation of that meeting and we're excited about that. So
And we'll be inviting the townships?
We have sent those invitations out today.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I guess since I'm not running, I haven't really looked, are any of the elections gonna be settled enough in August where you could invite any oncoming commissioners? If anybody is, okay,
Every commission.
Everybody's got a Democratic opponent.
okay. never mind.
Yeah, so we won't
Okay.
know exactly who the next commission's
I mean,
going to
it's
be
open
until
session
November.
anyway, so.
It's a public meeting, so
It
any
is.
candidate would certainly be welcome to attend.
Certainly, they always
and
are.
kind of give an input.
Okay, Sunny, you want to talk
Okay,
about the jail ad hoc?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the jail ad hoc committee. Last month, I gave you a little outline about the mental health first aid program, the train the trainer program, hiring a mental health professional, and down the line. I passed around a sheet that kind of explains what those different items are. I have actually a couple of copies of the proposals that came from Northern Lakes Community Mental Health last night, if anyone wants to read the whole packet. Basically, what I want to talk about is what we decided last night, and there's a motion, actually, Judge Rogers made the motion, and I don't remember who supported the motion. Tom Mayer supported the motion to move forward with these plans. We talked about the mental health first aid program that Northern Lakes has a grant to provide. I'm very excited to tell you that that program will be held here in Grand Traverse County, August 7th, 8th, and 9th. And we have 42 corrections officers signed up for that program. That program is being offered to us at no cost through a grant from Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. But I do need to make you aware that in order to make sure that basically all but one corrections officer and 3 probationary officers will be attending that program. That's pretty damn exciting.
You emptying the jails out or something?
Well, no, but there will be about a $7,500 cost in overtime budgets expenditure to cover the officers that are on duty, so as that each officer can attend this program. All 3 shifts will attend this program on those 3 days. So that's very exciting, and that's at no cost to us. A gentleman out of Houston, Texas, will be coming to do the mental health train the trainer program. Again, being grant funded through Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. It's a 40-hour program. It will be held and hosted in Grand Traverse County Jail training room, as far as we know at this point. It will be held September 10th through the 14th. We have 6 Grand Traverse County officers signed up for that program. We are making and have sent out invitations, or will be sending out invitations to the 6 surrounding counties that make up Great Lakes or Northern Lakes Community Mental Health to make this program available to them also, if they choose to be involved. We're bringing this guy in from Houston to run this program. We want to make it available to as many people as we possibly can. Joni mentioned last night, and she can add to this if I screw it up. There is a possibility that because he's coming here and we're doing it the way we are, there may be some of her grant money left. And one of the suggestions that she mentioned to me last night and to Captain Ritter was the possibility, this gentleman, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name now, and she can tell us in a minute, that runs this program. They've built a new facility in Houston that is specifically designed to be a prison jail system that has a very specific component to dealing with people with mental health and drug problems. There may be grant money available at the end of this program that we could send someone to Houston, or a couple of people to Houston at a minimal cost to the county to see what that type of facility was going to be like. I would encourage that if we get to a point where we're making a commitment to build a jail. Obviously, if we're not ready to commit to build a jail, there's no sense in spending time chasing people around the country or hiring consultants or anything else. But I really, truly hope that we will get there soon. The 2 recommendations, the 2 motions that came out last night, there's 2 pieces. One was the mental health professional, 40 hours a week in the Grand Traverse County Jail. You've all heard me complain for years that was the responsibility of Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. one way or the other, we aren't there. We're not meeting the mental health needs that we need in the jail. You know, there was a time a number of years ago, and we all know that that was in the past, that Northern Lakes Community Mental Health, Great Lakes Community Mental Health, whatever it was at the particular time, had someone in our jail 40 hours a week. Today, we're down on, we have 2 people in the jail 40 hours a week, so that's 80 man-hours. We are down under 20 at this point right now. We are not meeting the needs. We need someone in there to deal with these issues. That comes at a cost of $96,000 a year. You know, not bad, but it's still real money. My suggestion, and what I'm going to ask you to consider, you know, probably in your meeting in August, is that we enter into this contract effective September 1st. I would like to have this professional person under contract, and Joni would like to have them under contract before that September 10th training, so is that that person can participate with our officers in that training with this gentleman from Houston. So I think that makes good sense. The other piece is the certified peer support specialist. And that piece comes with a price tag of $64,500, Joni?
65.5 is what it says.
65.5. Wrong page. Anyway, peer support specialist was a little more discussion for us. This is a person who has experience dealing with mental health issues, may or may not have spent time in a jail, but is willing to go in and work with these people one-on-one while they're in the jail. The program is designed to deal with prisoners that are in jail for more than 30 days. Not to say that they won't speak with people that aren't there more than 30 days or less than 30 days, but you know, we're primarily their focus is on prisoners in the jail for more than 30 days. The piece that's important about this is they're also charged with the responsibility of helping these prisoners to reintegrate into the community when they're released from jail. They help them if they need substance abuse counseling, if they need, you know, family matters. They help them reconnect with natural people, whether it's their family, whether it's a religious or peer group type thing. But primarily, they help them negotiate and navigate the system to get them set up with meetings with doctors or with counselors to help them with their mental health issues that they had before they went in the jail or while they develop in the jail. I think we all have talked about the prisoner that goes into the jail that's kind of on the edge, really hasn't had an issue, may not have ever thought that they could be a potential client for CMH, but while in the jail their mental health capacity deteriorates, and now all of a sudden they become a problem for our corrections officers. They become a problem with our system in the jail. And under the current program, they're not CMH clients, so therefore they get, you know, minimal services unless it's an emergent thing where they feel that they're suicidal or something like that. So this peer support person is going to be in the jail and be able to meet with those folks. And you know, my point has been, even though these people may not be CMH clients, by the time they get out, they may be, and this person can help them facilitate that. So it comes with a big price tag. $65,000 seems like a lot, but when we sit down and we talk about it, if these two positions can keep 3 people that have mental health issues from coming back to our jail, it pays for the program.
Wow.
We seen a proposal last night from a company called Behavioral Medicine Associates, who has a psychiatrist who what he does is forensic psychology and psychiatry in the state prison system. His recommendation right now is that we contract with them 14 hours a week in Grand Traverse County Jail. He believes we have need for a psychiatrist 14 hours a week in Grand Traverse County Jail. That alone comes to a price tag of about $218,000 a year. I'm not prepared to make a recommendation that you consider that at this point. What we talked about last night is we're going to put the person in the jail 40 hours a week with a mental health professional. We'll put the peer person in there. Hopefully, within a couple months, we will see a significant decrease in the demands on the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist that we currently have is costing us $75,000 a year and provides 20 hours a month. 20 hours a month isn't very much. So the idea is with these other two positions, we should get to a point where we minimize and leverage what we actually need that psychiatrist for. So that's the plan. I will be asking you and putting it on your agenda for our first meeting in August to approve the contracts with Northern Lakes Community Mental Health for the full-time mental health provision or professional, and for the peer support group or individual. We talked to the gentleman, the three gentlemen, in fact, about from behavioral medicine last night. What we would like to do is try this and then see if we can put out an RFP, say sometime after the 1st of January, to have someone come in and do an independent evaluation of the mental health condition inside of our jail. We need someone that has some knowledge to be able to do that. The one gentleman who does nothing but forensic psychiatry every day obviously has the expertise to do that. I don't think any of us can walk through the jail and really assess whether or not we're meeting all the mental needs. We're very obviously, it's pretty obvious to most of us at this point that we're not, but we're hoping that with these two additions, we truly make a significant difference. It's $165,000, but that being said, what's the cost of one suicide in a jail? We've seen those lawsuits too. So, let's try to make sure that we're being proactive here. And I believe I give the ad hoc committee all the credit in the world because they've done their homework. They've put together the people to step up and tell us about it. And I absolutely want to thank Northern Lakes Community Mental Health for coming to the table, because we've had a lot of meetings when that wasn't necessarily the case, and we've had a little adversarial thing a few times. Carl and I have had a couple discussions that weren't exactly pleasant. So, but I absolutely want to acknowledge they're coming forward with this, and I will have this on your agenda in August to approve these two contracts. And like I said, my target is to have these positions in place by September 1st.
Okay.
Joni, Carl, you want to add anything?
Okay. You have to come to the microphone so everybody at home can hear you.
Just a general comment. I'm Carl Kovacs. I'm the CEO of Northern Lakes, and we've had interesting discussions over time and so forth. But I think we've gotten to a really good place, and I have to, credit Commissioner Wheelock, Commissioner Mayer, and the other members of the ad hoc jail committee, and Sheriff Bensley, who's been active in getting all that moving forward, and Joni Blamer, who's our Chief Population Officer for adults with mental illness, Lori Fisher, who's our Chief Financial Officer, put a lot of work into meeting the request, going back and forth and so forth. So I think we've gotten to a really good place. I think we've collaborated very well. So I'm really pleased with where we are, and I look forward to improving mental health services in the jail, and I think this is a great start.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Cheryl, I think you had something to say? And then we'll...
I'm hopeful that as part of the presentation, we're going to see the budget impact and how that's going to be handled. And I'd also like to see, something that's going to show us how you're going to measure whether this is being successful. I don't think, people not killing themselves is a sufficient measure of success. I want to see, if you're spending money for this peer support specialist to provide all of these services for people, how is that person supposed to do that once they're back out in the community and still serve the people in the jail? I mean, I think that we need some measures to see if this is actually accomplishing the goals that you've set for it, or if we're just throwing money at it, so.
We seen a presentation last night in regard to the peer specialist, talking about recidivism.
Recidivism?
Recidivism. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always a tough word
I
for
know,
me.
yeah.
But we're gonna, you will see that information.
And that's all,
You
and
know,
I'm just saying, I think all of us want to
you know,
see that
it-
there are measures.
The problem is today, we don't have good statistics of where we're at. We're gonna have to deal with a baseline now and then try to evaluate where we are 3 months from now.
And so these contracts that we're entering into are for a year?
That's going to be up to the commissioners whether, you know, obviously, we're talking about our 2018 budget. We're gonna have to talk about whether or not that money is going to be available in the 2019 budget. Obviously, at least in my mind, I hope that we can figure out a way to identify the funding in the 2019 budget, because it would be kind of a shame to do all this work and put together all this programming and have it last for 4 months.
I agree completely, and I guess what I'm saying is you're bringing us something that you want us to approve in about 2 weeks. It feels like there's some more work to be done. I mean, I don't want to approve something and then have to piecemeal it, so, you know, if we can get a package and the package makes sense, I'm fully supportive, but
We're gonna try to put that all together for you.
appreciate that, thank you.
Okay, Tom and then Bob.
Yeah, I just want to compliment Todd Ritter also for all the help he's put in, his thoughtfulness. If we continue on this, this track, we'll have a very progressive mental health service system at our jail, and we'll start to set a standard for other counties to follow. I believe that's true.
Okay, Bob?
And I know this is early in the game, but hopefully this is being looked at as, you know, when we build a new facility. We all know we're gonna have to. This model fits into it, and it sounds like that's what you're looking at is in the future, not necessarily for right now, but also into the future, because I would assume some of the savings you can get with the newer technology, that you may be able to pay for this anyway. But my question, the same thing you had, I was gonna have Dean start looking at how you're gonna fund it for the rest of this year and then for 2019, so.
It was interesting to hear from the forensic psychiatrist last night. He does basically all of his work by television.
Yeah.
It's all encrypted. He, you know, he's not making a commitment to come to Traverse City, you know, other than on occasion. It's done all via internet, Skype, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, that's concerning. But one of the
Is what it
questions
is.
I ask is, okay, what's the price tag of that equipment? You know, because somebody's got to pay for all of that. Well, I'm very pleased to say that according to Captain Ritter, that equipment was put in with the remodel that was just completed in the Grand Traverse County Jail. The new video equipment that was recently installed will facilitate that capability.
Super.
You know, and obviously at such point as we move to the new jail, you know, that equipment will be included in that construction.
Nice.
Tom?
I just wanted to make it clear that a quarter of these amounts will cover the fourth quarter in 2018, and then the full amount for the full year of 2019. We weren't asking for anything beyond 2019. And then at some point, well, the end of this year, beginning of next year, we'd have some kind of an evaluation to show what we've done and what it's changed.
Okay. Thank the ad hoc committee for doing exactly what we charged them
Good
with
job.
doing. We said first figure out the mental health issues,
Yep.
and then move on to facilities and what we can do further. But the charge initially was PDQ, get on the mental health issues, and that's exactly what they did. And I thank you very much.
And, you know, we will have, you know, another meeting, you know, next month in, you know, exactly when we would get to a discussion about a new jail. I can't give you an answer to that. You know, I believe it's absolutely critical that the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council gets in place, has opportunity to meet, and then I believe there's value to have these two committees meet together and talk about the jail. There's no sense in all of us going out and doing the same homework.
Right.
And some of us have, a number of us have enough history that we don't have to go repeat a lot of the stuff that would normally be done when you were gonna talk about building a new jail.
I think we're doing it in exactly the right order, in a very well thought-out manner.
And-
So
and
I like
We did
it.
that in 2004, and again in 2014. We've done an awful lot of the research already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe the situation is significantly different in 2019 than it was in 2004 or 2014.
Okay, thank you very
Absolutely,
much.
thank you.
Somebody asked me late last night what happened at the jail ad hoc.
Well,
I don't know.
And now we know.
Now I know.
The news people called me too, and I told
I
them that
told
we
them
would
too,
be
I'm
making a
sorry.
well, that's fine. I just told them we would be making a presentation to the Board of Commissioners tonight, and I wouldn't discuss it until then.
Good. Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
Let's see, moving on. Any other commissioner department reports? Anybody else? All good, okay. Current job openings. I'm gonna try to read these as far as what, some have closed already. So, we have continuous postings for correctional officer, deputies with the sheriff's office, medical examiner, investigator part-time, and seasonal law enforcement for the Marine Division. We also have current postings for an animal control officer. That closes on July 21st. Deputy County Administrator and Human Resources Director, those close on July 20th. An office clerk in the Register of Deeds closes July 26th. Universal Aids for Commission on Aging closes tomorrow. And a WIC, that's Women, Infant, and Children Peer Counselor with the Health Department, that closes on July 26th. So those are the things that we currently have available. If anyone is watching,
Is this something new you're
don't
going
know.
to be doing? Making a plug for employees?
we need them.
Hey.
I'm
Looking for quality
I-
people
I think-
everywhere we
I thought
possibly
you asked
can.
one time to know when we
Yes.
had all these vacancies.
No, I think-
Somebody
I
did.
think that's great.
Yes.
This is the first time I've noticed that you
Yes.
you did that.
This is
so-
it. We're,
Every opportunity you can get out there to let somebody know that you're looking for help is a
Yeah.
good
yes.
thing right now.
Like I said, we
Absolutely.
need quality, talented people, and if they're out there listening and watching,
Yeah.
that's what we have available for you right
And to
now.
go to the website.
Yes, yes, you can go to our website, and because we've paid the bill for the online applications, you can apply
And
online,
the website is?
grandtraverse.org.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else? No, okay. All right, we do have a closed session so do I have an official thing, or can I just read these? We have a closed session for two purposes. One, to discuss K. Wolf versus Grand Traverse County, to consult with attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with pending litigation. And regarding Carlson versus Grand Traverse County, to consult with attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with pending litigation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to go into closed session for the above stated remark.
Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Johnson.
Do we expect to make a decision coming out of this session?
For when you do, for when you do not.
Yes, so there will be a decision on something.
Maybe.
I know, they had that look of each other going,
Okay. Roll call, please, Bonnie.
Klaus,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Gorfulet,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Lathrop,
Yep.
Johnson,
yes.
Crawford.
Yes. Okay, we will be back.
I'm gonna use the ladies' room first.
thing.
Be there 9 days.
Okay. First, we need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Commissioner Gorfulet, supported by Commissioner Wheelock. Is that a roll call?
No.
No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I would move that the board approves a resolution to release the funds on deposit with the MMRMA to allow resolution of the case of Kaylee Wolf versus Grand Traverse County as recommended by legal counsel.
Support.
Moved by.
Second.
I moved it.
She moved
Oh,
it.
sorry.
Moved by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner Gorfulet. Probably no discussion, 'cause we're not supposed to. Roll call?
Sure.
Let's do a roll call.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wheelock.
Yes, ma'am.
Gorfulet.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Lathrop.
Yep.
Johnson.
Yes.
Klaus.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes. Okay, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. See you next Wednesday.
Attorney.